What is going on, everybody? Tech enthusiast here, and this is my review of the Sony Xperia 5 Mark II. So we have a white box, something different than other phones. We got the Xperia 5 Mark II branding on the top as well as the sides. The box is slimmer than most phone boxes. So on the back we have a list of some of the key specs: triple camera setup, a 8 megapixel selfie camera, full HD OLED display, 4000 mAh battery. It is powered by the Snapdragon 865 and it has a IP65 and 68 rating, and the storage is also expandable by micro SD card. Moving on to the contents of the box, so we have the phone, a USB-A to USB Type-C charging cable, and lastly the charging adapter. Yep, there is no silicone case or any earphones, very minimal. Taking a look at the sides of the device, on the left we have the SIM tray, and this one you can pull out with your nails and you don't need a SIM tray tool. On the top we have a headphone jack, and this is what some may consider as a feature these days. On the right we have a slew of buttons, so we have a dedicated camera button, Google Assistant button, we have the power button which also acts as the fingerprint reader, and the volume rocker. Then at the bottom we have a USB Type-C port. Notice there is no speaker grill here. This is because it is a front firing speaker. The first thing you'd notice about the Xperia 5 Mark II is the tall 21:9 aspect ratio display. It is a full HD OLED display with 120Hz refresh rate, and it may take some time getting used to. The back is made of glass and it is actually Corning Gorilla Glass 6, but it has no wireless charging. Bit of a missed opportunity if you ask me. There is a camera bump and a Sony logo slapped right in the middle, but it's not intrusive. Like the Xperia 1 Mark II, this phone has a dedicated camera button. It can be handy if you wanted to bring up the camera button really quickly. There is also an extra button. This is for Google Assistant. It's not something that I use, and unfortunately you can't map it to any other functions. The Xperia 5 Mark II has the Snapdragon 865 CPU. It has a 6.1-inch Full HD OLED display with 120Hz refresh rate, 128GB of base storage, and in some markets 256GB. It supports dual SIMs or one SIM card with a micro SD card. It has a 12 megapixel triple camera setup. Currently it is on Android 10 and it will be getting Android 11 in January. It has a 4000 mAh battery, not the biggest but still very decent. It supports 21 watts fast charging, but the supplied adapter charges at 18 watts. As for the pricing, it is £599 at the time of recording here in the UK, and it is a very good price. The fingerprint reader is located on the power button, not an in-display fingerprint reader which we see these days, and I did find it to unlock the phone 9 times out of 10. Booting up your phone, this is what the home screen would look like. On the left we have the news feeds. This is similar to what you will find on OnePlus and Huawei phones. As for apps, when you install them, they will be moved to the right hand side of the page. There is also an app drawer if you just slide it up. The apps are very minimal, but there are some bloatwares, for example LinkedIn, Tidal, Facebook, Netflix. Now you can't uninstall these apps, so what you could do is go onto an app, long press it, and go on to info button, and here there's a disable button. Once you've done that, when you come back to your app drawer or home screen, the app is no longer there, but it is not uninstalled. It's not the best solution, but at least it's a workaround. Now if you want to customize the home launcher, you will have to long press, go into settings. The options here are quite limited, but you can disable, for example, the Google search bar on the bottom just by tapping here. A feature you might find useful on this tall display is multi-window. So all you gotta do is click on the shortcut here, and then it will list some of the apps that are already open. So just make sure you have the apps that you wanna open at the same time. Then tap on the screen and it will launch both of the apps at the same time. So what you could do is have YouTube playing on the top screen. Also, if you wanted to use one app more than the other, you can stretch part of that app so you have more screen estate, so you'll have more of the app showing on the display. Now if you wanted to completely get out of multi-window, all you gotta do is drag your preferred app like so, and it's back to normal. As for the settings, it's not cluttered like Xiaomi phones running MIUI, rather it is like Google Pixel phones, quite minimal. As for the Android version, it is currently on Android 10 with the security patch of October at the time of recording this video. Sony has mentioned that Android 11 will be available in late January. When it comes to media consumption such as music or movies, the Mark II delivers. With the tall 21:9 aspect ratio, you can find content to fill the whole screen, and with the two front-firing speakers with Dolby Atmos support, the overall experience is excellent. Not only is the Xperia 5 Mark II great for media consumption, it is also excellent when it comes to gaming. This phone is also pegged as a gaming device, and that's because it's got the Snapdragon 865, not the Plus, but it would still get the job done. It can handle any game you throw at it from the Google Play Store. If you are a battery conscious person, then you'll be glad to know that Sony has included a feature called Battery Care. With the option, you can hard set your phone so it only charges up to 90% or 80%. The lower the better, and it will increase the longevity of the battery life for your phone. The Xperia 5 Mark II comes equipped with a triple camera setup. It has a 12 megapixel wide lens, a 12 megapixel telephoto lens with 3x optical zoom, and a 12 megapixel ultra wide angle lens. Sony have included two apps on the Mark II. So the first one is Photo Pro, and this one is probably aimed at more at camera enthusiasts, those who use DSLR cameras. There are a lot of options available. The second app is Cinema Pro. Now with this one, it is more advanced when it comes to taking video recording. You can take it in cinematic style, record videos in 4K with up to 120 frames per second, and again, there are a lot of features available. Now if you're not a camera enthusiast and more of a click and shoot person, then you will still get very good photos with the Xperia 5 Mark II. Photo quality is on par with its bigger brother, the Xperia 1 Mark II, the only difference being the omission of the time of flight sensor, which will have an impact to low light photos. In good lighting conditions, the Xperia 5 II produces photos with very good details and natural colors. For the price, it's definitely better than what OnePlus has to offer. My only nitpick is low light performance. There is no dedicated camera mode for some reason, so it remains a step behind Google, Apple and Huawei phones. The video recording quality is very good on the Xperia 5 Mark II. You can record up to 4K, but there are some things missing, that is smile shutter and object tracking. Now if you really wanted to play around with the video settings, then you can always use the Cinema Pro app. As for the video stabilization, I found it to be very good. In my day-to-day usage, I found the Xperia 5 Mark II to be very snappy. Media consumption is great and battery life is fairly good but not the best. It has a very clean version of Android, but there is little bloatware. The tall display may not be for everyone, so you should try and have a play around before you buy it. Having said that, I believe there are 3 places where Sony can improve. Firstly, it is to release their flagship phones closer to the time of their rivals. This phone is an example of being released too late in the year. Secondly, their marketing needs to improve, as you don't hear about their phones as much as you would with the competition, so they need to be aggressive to stand out. Finally, the pricing. I have seen some of their phones in the past where it has been more than the market leaders, and it did put people off from buying the phones, so the price definitely needs to be lower if they want to gain traction. So what are your thoughts about the Xperia 5 Mark II? Do you own it or plan to buy it? Do let me know in the comment section. Now if you have enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you are new here, then please do consider subscribing, as I have more videos coming up, so make sure you hit that bell icon so you get notified as soon as I release my videos. Please do follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and like always, thanks for watching, and I will catch up with you in the next video.